How's it going, everyone? College Lefty, and in this video I'm going to be predicting all 30 Legends of the Franchise Diamonds, so let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing I wanted to mention is the fact that we do not have a Legends of the Franchise program that has been confirmed yet, but if you take a look at this updated schedule and if you checked out the previous video, then you already know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And another thing I wanted to mention is the fact that some of these predictions might actually be some of the henchmen or some of the legends and flashbacks that we could potentially see before the boss packs. And I think these two question marks represent 30 bosses. It could actually be more than 30. It could be, somewhere in the middle between 15 and 30, but I really think we're about to get another big time program, and it could actually be the same day we get another big collection. But for the Baltimore Orioles, I think the Legends of the Franchise Diamond will be Brooks Robinson. And keep in mind, we still have a ton of cards that could be released over the next 2 weeks or so. But for the Red Sox, I think Wade Boggs would be a pretty good pick. And I think a lot of these cards will be like super juiced up. You might look at some of these player names and think to yourself, well, that wouldn't really be a good pick. And I would agree with you. But at the same time, I think they will juice up some of these 99 overall Legends of the Franchise Diamond bosses. But for the Yankees, Mariano Rivera. For the Tampa Bay Rays, I wasn't quite sure. But I noticed this Scott Kazmir has a gold card, and he could, in fact, earn a retro finest diamond card at a 99 overall. I'm not 100% sure on the Rays, though. In terms of the Blue Jays, I think Joe Carter would be a really good pick here. We could also see Roy Halladay, but I picked him for a different team. For the White Sox, we have Ray Durham. He does have a 90 overall card. I think this guy could be really good. If they give him a little bit of power, he will be usable because he is a switch hitter. He's also 5'8". Some people don't like using short players, but some people do really well with them. I think a juiced up Kenny Lofton would be pretty good. I know he has a 91 overall card, and Kenny Lofton typically does not have a ton of power, but maybe 70, 75 power would be pretty nice. For the Tigers, I think Kirk Gibson would be really solid. He does have a 90-something overall card with the Dodgers already. I think it's a 94. But I think Kirk Gibson with the Tigers would make a lot of sense. I know he had a couple good seasons. But Brett Saberhagen for the Royals, I think, would be a good pick. And there's a few other players, right? Like for the Tigers, it could also be Prince Fielder, but he could also be the Brewers selection. As far as the Twins go, I think Rod Carew, a juiced-up Rod Carew card, would be really good. He had like a 98 overall MVP card in last year's game, and I think they could juice him up to a 99. As far as the Houston Astros, J.R. Richard, this card would be pretty good. I always think his name is J.P. Richard for some reason, but Jeff Bagwell would also be a good selection there. Torrey Hunter for the Angels, I think, would be a good pick, but also Troy Glaus. Troy Glaus already has, a mid-90s diamond card. I want to say that was the Angels collection reward. As far as the Athletics go, I think Ricky Henderson deserves a 99 overall card. He doesn't have really anything better than this 88 overall Takashi card. And typically, by this point in time, he has like a 95 or a 96 overall Yankees legend card. So he could also be the Yankees pick. But as far as the Mariners, I think Edgar Martinez would be a good selection here. With the Rangers, I had to go with Ivan Rodriguez, Pudge Rodriguez. But once again, he could be the Tigers pick. But I kind of thought about it a little bit. I didn't really have a ton of catchers on this list, so I wanted to include Pudge as a potential option. We also could see a Hank Aaron as the Braves program reward. This card is really good in general against lefties. I would love to see a retro finest Hank Aaron card at a 99 overall. I know some people don't necessarily like his swing. As far as the Marlins go, I know I was predicting Gary Sheffield as one of these old school bosses, and they did not go with that pick, so they could select him. And one more thing that I kind of almost forgot to say, for the Athletics, we also had that Vita Blue that was leaked, but I think he might be a good pick at a 99. He was a milestone card. I think most of these cards in this Legends of the Franchise program will be retro finest cards, but I don't know. But for the Mets, I went with Tom Seaver. He does have that 93. For the Phillies, I kind of thought about Jimmy Rollins, but I wanted to go with Roy Halladay just because I think he deserves a 99. And then the other catcher on the list, I went with Gary Carter for the Nationals, for the Expos. I think Gary Carter could, in fact, earn a better card than this collection reward for the Mets, but I'm not really sure about that either. For the Cubs, I like this Fergie Jenkins. I've always liked using Fergie Jenkins in MLB The Show. So I'm hoping that they pick him in terms of a 99 that has some pretty good hits per nine and pretty good, decent K per nine. Generally, one of those attributes is pretty low on his player items, but I would like to see a good Fergie Jenkins. Anyway, George Foster for the Reds. I'm not even sure if this card is in the game. I might have missed him in the inventory of MLB The Show 22, but I went back to MLB The Show 21, and of course, he had that 99 overall. I think it was a World Series reward. So a program reward would make sense. We also have Robin Yount for the Brewers. Once again, this could be Prince Fielder. I think that would be another good selection. But I wanted to mix in a couple outfielders that also could potentially play infield, like Honus Wagner. Robin Yount could have shortstop as a secondary position, depending on if they gave him, a Takashi or a Retro Finest. We could see some Takashi cards in this Legends of the Franchise program. But for the Cardinals, I went with Bob Gibson. And for the Diamondbacks, I thought about Luis Gonzalez. He already has a 95. I would like to see a Steve Finley. I think his swing is a little bit better than Luis Gonzalez, but Luis Gonzalez would also be a good pick. If Brandon Webb didn't already have a Retro Finest, I would think he could earn a 99 overall card, but maybe not. Maybe that 96 is going to be the best one. For the Rockies, I think Dante Bichette will be a great pick, as well as, Larry Walker. For the Dodgers, I think we could see a closing pitcher in Eric Gagne. I think a 99 overall Eric Gagne with this pitch repertoire, or maybe even, a sinker. Give him a sinker, give him something with some movement. I think he would be really good, potentially outlier, right? He threw 101 miles per hour, facing Barry Bonds and stuff like that. But also for the Padres, I think Tony Gwynn will be a pretty good pick. We also have Giants in terms of Monte Irvin. We could potentially see a Christy Mathewson here, but I kind of hope it's Monte Irvin. But that kind of wraps up everything. We could also see a Mike Schmidt for the Phillies. We could also see Harmon Killebrew for the Twins. We could see Cy Young for the Cleveland Guardians. We could see a couple other legends, and I wanted to mention a few at the end. But I am excited about these bigger programs, right? Some of the smaller programs in the game have been pretty good. But like the most recent event rewards kind of didn't really make sense to me with the old school program. There's just been a couple things here and there that haven't really made a ton of sense to me. At the same time, though, that's kind of why I picked a few of these players that I selected in this video. I'm hoping for some really good cards. They could juice up some of these non-bigger name Legends of the Franchise, even though, some of these guys are pretty well known too. I'm just not sure what they're going to do. We might not see a Legends of the Franchise program at all. But that's going to do it for this video. I'm College Lefty, and peace out.